Hello trainers, Kaneto here, and today we're diving together into Open Great League, but for the next season because this team is gonna work much better in a while. So we're gonna start off with Vigoroth up in front, which has access to Rock Slide the following season, and I believe it is gonna help it a lot against flyers, and one of these flyers is of course Pelipper. Over here you can always get to that extra overfarm, throw that body slam, and then go ahead and throw the real move, which is Rock Slide. I believe that Vigoroth is gonna be able to do that pretty much all the time, and especially with the Psychic nerf, we're not gonna see a lot of those Medichams around. They are gonna be with a different moveset. I can predict something like a Power Punch and Ice Punch, but with Psychic not so much. Anyways, now at the back we're gonna come into the battle with Azumarill, and if you didn't know, Azumarill is gonna get a severe buff as well. So this Pokemon now with Bubble is gonna do a little bit more damage, pretty much like it used to do during the first seasons of Go Battle League, because at some point it got nerfed on the attack stat, and yeah, right now Azumarill is gonna get that nerf back into action. So we're gonna see that we're gonna do one more damage, which can be pretty crucial with Bubble against certain opponents. So now we can go in with Runerigus, which I believe is still gonna stay as it is, and of course we're gonna take the first victory to start off the video into a very bad lead into the next battle. And for this one you are not gonna need a lot those Rock Slides, but no matter what, we're just gonna switch out to our Azumarill. So Azumarill here is gonna do a lot of work, and guess what, my opponent is gonna bring an Ice type Pokemon. So here is where another Pokemon can be threatened down by the Rock Slide, and that is mainly because of those Ice types being weak to those Rock moves, and I believe that you are not gonna regret using a Pokemon like Vigoroth overall in the meta. Also with Rock Slide you're gonna get severe coverage against something like a Trevenant, for example, which is pretty neat if you ask me, and I believe that overall Vigoroth with Rock Slide is gonna be one of the top meta performers overall the following season. Into the next battle, and we're facing a Medicham up in front. So now on the switch we're gonna be met up with Sandslash, and of course right here Bubble dealing one more extra damage, not on this battle in particular but the future battles with Aurora Sandslash. That extra damage from Bubble will really help Azumarill win this battle even easier, only going straight for those play roughs, no needing at all to get to that Hydro Pump at all. So as you can see here, we need to respect the damage from the following drill run, and of course right after we can easily farm down. Even if they get to another move at this point, we can absolutely take it and complete the farm down no matter what. Because they switch out to that Medicham, I want to preserve all that play rough energy for the end game and see how this is gonna unfold, because I have a complete wall to that Medicham threat on the face of my Runerigus. Able to get to the Shadow Ball as well, which is pretty neat. At this point my opponent will sacrifice their Medicham, and now at the back they have Gligar. The battle is definitely not over yet, and right here if you have a Rock Slide by the time you're watching this video, you need first to charge up to the Rock Slide, then throw the Body Slams, and at some point it might be worth to go for the Rock Slide, but I believe since they have two shields here, we're just gonna go ahead and overfarm anyways and throw those Body Slams at the correct amount of time that we can get to throw those moves in total. So another move is coming up from my opponent, this time the Dig, and of course this final Body Slam will most likely grab the shield out of play so that Azumarill can go in, finish them off with a super effective Ice Beam, and that will conclude this battle into an amazing victory for our team. Vigoroth against the world, another bad lead for our Pokemon, and on this Deoxys we need to switch out to that Azumarill. So overall this team will be extremely strong, I recommend to you trainers, and let's see how this is gonna unfold on the next matchup, because we're definitely gonna see the switch at some point of the Deoxys. They managed to catch the move on the Sandslash, but to be fair we can still hold on in there. So another play rough is coming in, because this Pokemon is a Shadow, we're gonna do more damage than usual. Already on the red, which means that if we can farm down here, Runerigus can absolutely come in and start destroying down this Pokemon. So overall I think that even if they return to the battle with Deoxys, they still have to sacrifice some energy in the process, but my opponent here decides to block as well. Perhaps they thought we had the Hydro Pump ready to go, perhaps not, I have no clue, but whatever happens here we're just gonna be able to dominate on the end game, because they have an Ice type Pokemon, and even though right here I have Bulldoze just for the memes and because the new season hasn't arrived yet in my time that I'm recording this video, we're just gonna go with those body slams. But obviously even against a Pokemon like Dugong, you need to get your hands on Rock Slide to do super effective damage no matter what in combination with those counters. So overall Rock Slide is gonna be an amazing move for Vigoroth. And now with the Ox at the back, we can easily one-shot down this Pokemon, almost one-shot down, with a simple Shadow Ball, and of course right after, the Dugong will follow the same fate. Into the next battle now, Battlers, and we're having a Venusaur up against us. So here is another matchup that you might want to have a Rock Slide, because Shadow Venusaur is gonna struggle a lot against charge attacks, but it can be deadly with those Frenzy plants. But overall I believe that Body Slam is still gonna be your main way to go most of the time. It is much more energy efficient, you can get there much faster, and of course deal about the same amount of damage getting stabbed from the normal typing. You can imagine Vigoroth as a normal type matchup because they can basically reach to those moves at the same amount of time, 5 counters for a cross up or a body slam, and of course you need some extra for that Rock Slide, which is the same move on those two Pokemon. So all this time you are seeing that I have Bulldoze over here, and before you roast me right down in the comments, yes, I do not have a Rock Slide on my Vigoroth, I have instead Bulldoze, and that's mainly because the season hasn't arrived in my area yet. So with that said, now we're just gonna go ahead with Vigoroth and the body slams for that Lantern to feint it down, and right after we're gonna put them at a position that they have to throw the remaining energy. So it all depends now on what they might have at the back, and to our bad luck it is gonna be a Dugong, so this means that the outcome of this battle might already have been settled, because here comes now the Icy Wind, which will debuff us, and even though we can reach here to the Shadow Ball, I do not believe that we can go ahead and farm down. Unfortunately for us, we're gonna fall down to those ice fast attacks, and of course we're gonna give away that victory. Into the next one, trainers, and we're having a Lantern up against us, so all we have to do here is to charge up to a Bulldoze, but of course I was able to throw that switch into my Azumarill much earlier than that, because they're gonna reveal their next Pokemon, which is Skeleditch, and this Pokemon can carry the move Shadow Ball, but we managed to catch Disarming Voice, which means that the next move, even if that is gonna be Shadow Ball, we can easily take it, and right after we're just gonna be able to farm down if we want to. And that is a huge if, because I do not mind by letting my Azumarill go down at this point. It all depends on what they have at the back, and this is kind of a popular team that I think Zionic made popular at this point, and I'm expecting the Alola Marowak at the back. Yeah, here it is. So at this point we're just gonna go ahead and throw the Bulldoze, but of course by the time that the new season is gonna arrive, I believe that the Rock Slide is gonna be the better move overall, even for those fire types. So you can see that the rock typing is absolutely great on the offensive stat, and especially on Pokemon that are not rock types at all, which is pretty weird, but it still makes a lot of sense, because rock as a typing makes a lot of sense offensively, but defensively has a lot of flaws. So when you're using this move from a Pokemon that is not a rock type, it is definitely gonna get the best out of it, especially on coverage. So now Lantern is just gonna reach to the Surf, but to be fair, we don't care at all. We still have Phantom to put them almost at the 1 Shadow Claw range, and of course right here by blocking we have already passed through our final Shadow Claw, and down goes that Lantern. Into the final one, and another flyer, this time another Pelipper. All you have to do here is to go for the Rock Slide and almost one-shot down this Pokemon, but before we do, we need to go ahead and grab at least a shield. My opponent here will not block, of course, because Rock Slide is not in the game yet, but right after we're just gonna get knocked down by that Hurricane. So Azumarill is just gonna be able to do a lot of solid work against that Pelipper, but not before we get so much damage from a Hurricane and possibly from a Weather Ball. This will put us pretty low, but still we can rely a lot on the fact that we have a lot of energy to spare, and at the same time we got 2 shields up. So Serperior is gonna go in out of nowhere, and as it seems we can expect something like a fighter, a Medicham most probably at the back. This is a common line with Pelipper, Serperior and Medicham, so I'm just gonna go in there with my Runerigus, try to thread some shields with those Phantoms. They are not gonna fall for the first bait, but right after they have to sacrifice a shield. So at this point I know that I have some energy stored up to my Azumarill, but at the same time we're not looking that great, only because of the fact that they have a shield and we have none. So here comes now the move after they overfarm a bunch of energy, and right after we need to reach to that player as soon as possible. Unfortunately for us, they can still reach to the Ice Punch just barely enough, and right after we can nuke them down. Serperior returns, only 1 HP remaining, and we're gonna take that very close victory to end this video. Thank you for watching and for staying till the end, trainers. Just be sure to leave a huge like before you go, subscribe to the channel if you are new to my content, and with that said, I hope to see you all into the next one.